Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. As you may have noticed, I am speaking for the first time. I decided to speak because honestly, it takes really a lot of time to make subtitles for the videos, and I feel like the videos come better if I speak with my own voice. Yeah, I didn't want to use AI or any other stuff because I don't know. I prefer to speak with my own voice. So today we have three iPod Nanos, third generation, and I picked them off eBay. I didn't pay a lot for them. I paid less than 40 euros, including shipping. Uh, I bought them as broken. So let's try and see what can we do with them. So we got this blue one. We got the first gray one, good condition, and we have this. This is destroyed, man. Oh my god. So yeah, that's the one I decided to open first. The most destroyed of them all. And yeah, for now I'm using a razor blade. I advise against using a razor blade because I hurt myself honestly, and at the time I didn't have the right tools. I strongly want to say that you shouldn't use the razor blades to open the iPod because you're gonna hurt yourself honestly, and they are not even effective. So yeah, here I found this kind of tool which was too thick, and I decided to sharpen it a little bit so that I can use it to open the iPod. Yeah, those things were never meant to be opened. uh, as you can notice, I'm struggling. This is my first iPod. I never opened one of those in my life, so yeah, they're a pain. They're actually a pain to open, but if you persist, you will be successful in the end. Yeah. So as I was saying, they were not meant to be open. The process is destructive. Honestly, it is a battle to get them to open without destroying them. So here you can see I'm using a pick so that it doesn't close itself when you apply pressure with your hands. Yes, it happened multiple times. It just closes itself. Uh, yeah, once you unlock the all the clips, the top ones are the most difficult. They're a pain actually because they're the ones closer to the screen, so you need to be careful. You need to pay attention. Those clips. Yeah, it looks like I'm applying a lot of force, but actually I'm not applying a lot of force at all. I'm getting it slowly, slowly to open, and it's hard. It's you don't want to, you don't want to be go fast with it and pry it open. You need to take your time. You need to go slow, and it will eventually open itself. Trust me. So as you can see, my fingers are completely destroyed. That's why you shouldn't open with it with your by using a razor blade actually. And so finally it comes apart, and yeah, it isn't looking too good honestly. So we obviously have water damage all over the place. Water has come in contact inside. You can see the stains, the oxide stains, even though it's stainless steel, but it gets stained. And looking at the board, yeah, we can definitely see some corrosion. uh yeah, and one thing I noticed is that the the click wheel connector is destroyed. I mean probably somebody else has been here before me. The screws are all rotten, but in the end they came out anyway. As you can see, the connector is destroyed. I don't know how that is possible. Probably somebody opened it before me. So yeah, that's the situation for now. So you start removing all the screws. For good measure, try to put every screw where it came from. So with Apple products, how it is. So there are a total of 6 screws, I think. I don't remember now. Um, so now you have to remove this metal piece, which this is my first time taking it apart, and it's just glued. You can pry it once you get up the jack connector, it comes out easily. So we now pry very gently this broken connector. Yeah, it is broken, so we need to be careful. All right, then we take a screwdriver. You need to gently pry it off. So the board, you need to push the board downwards. I didn't know, this is my first time opening one. You need to push the board downwards, but this one was completely bent, so it was a pain anyway. The other two were way easier to open actually. So yeah, now it has came apart and we have access to the screen connector, which is very, you need to be very careful. You can use your fingernail, just don't pry too hard, and the screen comes out. So now we can remove the battery. The adhesive is not too strong, you can use some heat if you want, but I advise against applying heat on the battery. um, then you need to desolder the wires, obviously. I am using a screwdriver to leverage the wires, but it is not necessary. And the last wire comes out by gravity. And yeah, I honestly, 2 hours after all this thing, I just had to treat myself. So yes, it is exactly what you're thinking right now. I am about to wash the board, and before you say anything, just listen to me. Uh, Corrosion salts, copper salts, and whatever metal is in there, you know, you can really use alcohol in there because alcohol doesn't really dissolve the oxides. It's water that actually dissolves the oxides. So yeah, in these cases, it is actually water damage board. You are better using some more water. And the difference here is that you are not applying any electricity whatsoever. So no damage. You can wash everything you want electronic, as long as it is not a screen or some other delicate component. But generally boards you can wash. um, so you only need warm water and some soap and a toothbrush. So I removed this piece for better access, but it is not necessary. So yeah, here is the board. The water damage was obvious in this one. So yeah, so we apply some water first just to get it wet, even the toothbrush. Then we apply some soap, obviously. Warm water is best, but even if it's cold water, it's fine anyways. It is the friction of the toothbrush that removes most of the corrosion. Hot water helps to dissolve the corrosion itself, but it is not mandatory. So you just basically wanna clean the entire board. It's a small board. It's gonna be easy to dry. You don't need to wait 24, 48 hours. You will see in the next minute or so how to dry it very carefully. So we keep scrubbing the board. get rid of all the corrosion, good occasion to clean the connector. It will look brand new actually, I swear. Yeah, we cleaned those capacitors very well. They were pretty corroded, but you know, most of the times you can save a board this way. We cleaned the jack, the audio jack. It gets dirty, obviously. So yeah, we now can rinse the board with some warm water. Uh, you need to remove the soap very carefully. You don't want any soap whatsoever. So be sure to rinse the board very thoroughly. Okay, so now that you washed your board, you want to use a hair dryer, and I suggest you use it with the lowest speed and the hottest heat setting, because this board is very very lightweight. It will fly out if you're not careful. So just use the lower speed and the most heat possible. So the drying process is very straightforward. You just need to stand with the hair dryer on top of the board. Boards can take heat. Don't worry about plastic component damage. Soldering temperatures are nowhere near a hair dryer temperature. You're safe. So you need to keep it pointed, until you don't see any water whatsoever. uh, I advise also that you blow inside the jack connector and the charging connector, because those tend to accumulate a lot of water. So you blow inside of them, and the water gets out, and you basically dry them with a hair dryer, and the board will come out beautifully clean, and it will smell nice too. Okay, so now I'm using this old keyboard, wireless keyboard. Um, my first idea was to charge the old battery, but it's obviously dead, and it has obviously suffered water damage. So what I will do now is connect the board directly on the battery cables with the charging circuit of this keyboard. I measured the voltage beforehand. It provides 4.14 volts, so it is safe. It is a common voltage for a lithium battery, so it is safe. You can use a charging circuit to power small power applications like an iPod. Okay, so let's test it. To power it on, you need to move the lock 2 times, because if you move it on the lock position, it will not turn on. So, just to be sure, since you cannot tell the position of the switch, you just move it 2 times and it will turn on. So it turns on, but we got a white screen. Well, at least we managed to turn it on. It was completely dead before, so I guess washing the board helped a bit, but the screen is toast apparently. So I noticed that there was a missing capacitor on the board, and I confronted the images with the other board pictures from Google, and there is indeed a capacitor in there. So I will probably steal some capacitor from some other board that I have laying around. It is fine. It is really fine for low voltages. You don't have to worry about anything. So now I am using this old router board. You know, It has saved me multiple times. I always use this board for spare resistors, spare capacitors, you know. I think this lives up to the name of the channel, you know. So with the hot hair, you know, 350 degrees, 50% speed, a little bit of flux, and we solder back the old, the new capacitor in place. I use the coin, so you know, not to melt the already fragile connector. A little touch up with the soldering iron. Okay, so guys, in the end, I finally figured out what the problem was. I took apart the screen, and yeah, there is a big crack on this. I don't know if it is a cub module, you know, chip on board. I'm not an expert on, you know, LCD technology, but yes, this was cracked apparently. This iPod has probably suffered some fall damage, or it has been stepped on, or probably sat on, you know. So yeah, we got this white screen. Nothing we can do, guys. This one needs a new screen and a new battery. Okay, so now we got this one out of the way. Now we need to pick another one. So we have the blue one, 8 gigabytes, and the gray one, which is 4 gigabytes. They're in good condition, honestly. So I will do the 8 gigabytes one. It is in pristine condition, actually. It doesn't look bad. It is a bit scratched up, but you know, they are just normal scratches. So I sped up the teardown footage, you know, because it takes time, man. You know, it takes at least 1 hour to open one of those. You know, this is literally the second one I'm doing, so please, guys, forgive me. But the process is always the same. You know, you need to unlock the clips. They are in specific positions on the back case, and you need to be careful on the top ones because there's actually the screen. You know, so you can apply too much force on there. As I said in the beginning, yes, those ones were not meant to be open. So it is a destructive process, but what do you want to do? If you want to save them, you know, this is what you got to do. So this one took a little less time to open, you know. I already hurt myself, so um yeah, this is in way better condition, you know. Way better condition. No water damage whatsoever. Nobody has been here before. The battery is different, I will say, and the flash chip obviously is different since this is an 8 gigabyte model. This one has a Toshiba flash chip. So we remove the 6 screws, we lift up the jack, and we remove the metal piece, which is glued. You know, the glue is very weak, it comes out easily. We take out the ribbon cable for the click wheel, and we remove the screen connector. So yeah, the board is in very good condition, you know. We remove the battery, we desolder the wires. The process is now, you know, it is the same pretty much. You can tell, you know, I was way faster with this one. We apply a little bit of solder, you know, we remove the old glue, and let's see if it powers on. and we got a widescreen. Are you kidding me? Okay, so since we got a widescreen, I'm removing this display from the frame. I am using the hot air, 100 degrees, nothing too hot. We don't want to ruin it. Okay, so actually the screen connector wasn't seated properly, so what we got instead is a gray screen. I mean, wow, what an improvement we got here, huh? So yeah, now we need two screens and two batteries. Okay, guys, so I opened the third one, the gray one, and I will spare you the footage because in this one I actually hurt myself really bad. You can see the blood on my fingers, but it is what it is. Yeah, this one took way less time though. The battery is the same as the first one we opened, but the flash, even if it is 4 gigabytes, it is different. So we soldered the wires on the battery charger circuit, and let's power it on. And would you look at that? This one works finally, 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 finally. So we got an Apple logo, and yeah, it seems to be working. Honestly, I didn't expect it. Honestly, so we got some music here. Okay, so now I am testing the board of the blue one, the 8 gigabytes one, to see if it is actually a screen fault or a motherboard fault. So let's see. And will you look at that? It was indeed the screen. It was indeed the screen. So we got some random music, I don't know. And yeah, it works. I didn't test the first one we opened because I glued back the case. So yeah, I couldn't test it, but I'm pretty sure it works too. And yeah, that's basically the result, guys. So I don't know, maybe guys, I'm very much probably gonna save them. I'm gonna buy the spare parts and repair them. Maybe I make another video. Those iPod Nanos, they get hate, but they look cool. They still serve their purpose. So yeah, guys, that was it. As always, I hope you had fun watching the video. I hope my video was useful. I try my best. I'm open to critics. I'm sorry for my English. I know it is not the best, but I'm trying, guys. All right. So yeah, guys, see you on the next one. Bye.